Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Agenda Review Friday morning. We're going to look at agendas for the County Commission and the Fire District for Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. We've got several people that have some conflicting meetings and aren't with us this morning, so they'll catch up online or afterwards. But one of those is in our County Manager, Tom Stoltz. So we get the closer, the pinch hitter, Tim Kaufman. Go ahead, Tim.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Tanya, do you want to talk about the public agenda?
I think Nicole's here this morning, so she will touch on that.
Snuck in behind me.
Sorry for the surprise. Good morning, everyone. For county announcements, I have election reminders. I'll just run through those really quickly and we'll be a little more in depth on Wednesday. Advanced in-person starts October 21st. Satellite locations will open October 29th. That is also the last day that you can request an advanced by mail ballot. On November 4th, advanced in-person voting ends at noon at the election office, and the election day is on November 5th. We will also talk about daylight savings times. That is Sunday, November 3rd. And the reason we bring that up is it's a good fire district reminder to change out the batteries in your smoke alarms. Last but not least, household hazardous waste. There's a collection event coming up next Saturday, October 26th at the zoo from 9 to 1. And that's all I have.
Thank you. We one set of minutes to review, and then we've got two proclamations, one acknowledging Disability Employment Awareness Month and another that recognizes National Foster Youth Voice Month. We have one appointment. Reverend Fulton, Dave Fulton, is resigning from the Mental Health Advisory Board. He's been a long-standing and really good advisory board member there. In new business, we've got item E is a return of an issue that you heard on the 18th of September. Got some staff in the room if you've got questions about that. But item F is item F and G are two funding mechanisms. Item F allows for the issuance of bonds to pay for future bridge work, $1.65 million for two bridges. And item G allows for sale of bonds to fund a portion of a $4.6 million street repair, $3 million in bonds, $1.6 million in sales tax funds. And this is a funding mechanism. The bonds will probably be issued in early 2025. Item H, Scott Newland will come provide an update to the commission and the community about the elephant pregnancies that we've got going on out at the zoo. Item I is a report, an update from our appraiser. He's going to talk about 2024 compliance, market trends, and ratio results.
Okay. Interesting.
And then the last item of regular agenda items is the Board of Bids and Contracts. There's a couple of items there. K through U on the consent agenda item is some cleanup of right-of-way, annexation of right-of-way. I don't know, Daniel, if you've got anything else to talk about on that.
Yeah, I'd be willing to talk about any of these annexations that we have. This is not all of them. We will be coming back to you at a later time to go through Wichita, Park City, and Keachai. We're still working out some of those details. Plus, we don't have one of the roads on here that will, I think they're going to split between Goddard and Wichita. That is a little bit more contentious. So that is not included in the Goddard resolution. But generally, these have all gone pretty well. I've talked with the city of Andale this week, explained to them what those responsibilities will be, because those will be connecting links. So those will still, the roads in Andale will still be maintained by Sedgwick County. Spoke with the new city manager of Bel Air last week to go over that, and they seem to be on board with that. Same with Cheney, and in Clearwater, we have had a bridge on Diagonal that has been in our CIP for, I think, since 2021 or 2022. And so we've agreed to finish out that CIP project, even though they are annexing that road. And we've had extensive talks with Goddard. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about any of these cities.
It's good. This work's been ongoing for a while, a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings. So appreciate you going to the cities and having these conversations.
Very good.
Items V and W are two zoning request changes. MAPC has supported both of them and there were no protests with either of those requests. Item Z is an affiliation agreement. Central Plain Area Agency on Aging is able now, will be able to, through this affiliation, deliver some new case management services to individuals that receive services from the VA, and that's a new program. We're going to defer item Y to a future date. Items Z, AA, and AB are all related to ARC 95. They're funding participation agreements with City of Derby at 100,000, City of Hayesville and Mulvane at 20,000 each over a 5-year period. Item AC allows you to expand your advisory board capacity to 15. Item AD is the internal audit policy for the county, and it's routine business after that. Any questions or recommendations on this agenda?
Yeah, can I, a couple things just to clarify, and then a question if I can ask to come up. So items H and I are just receive and file. There's no action. H and I, the zoo and the appraiser.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
But on item E, is there any, we did this, we had this hearing and commissioners made a lot of questions and a lot of suggestions, and it was supposed to go back to the planning commission, which it did. Is there any new information that the applicant that was reviewed by the planning commission?
No, sir, other than the applicant did not make any changes to his application until the day before. And he agreed with staff in terms of what protective overlay provisions to put in, with the exception of one. And then, in terms of facts to the case, there's nothing really new that was presented.
Okay. Right, that's all I need to know. Thank you.
Justin, let me clarify a couple things on the specific zoning. We would open up a public hearing just as we did before and allow same people to say the same stuff, or talk to me about how this needs to work.
Just to answer a little bit more maybe broadly, there's no statutorily required public hearing at any point on these zoning cases in front of the Board of County Commissioners, whether the initial hearing or the rehearing. Customarily, the board has still allowed hearings. But I think it certainly would be fair for you as the chairman to direct that their comments be on new information or information related to the application or why you sent it back to the MAPC. I think that would be a fair request of speakers to kind of have their comments be towards that. So it's not towards the what they already talked about, but I would still suggest having an open hearing on it.
Understood. Thank you.
If I can follow up. And so if we take to adopt the action of the planning commission as well as staff, that would be a simple majority vote.
That is correct,
And
Commissioner.
So
To take the recommended action would be a simple majority vote.
So if if the county commission wants to make any adjustments at all, one way or another, to go against the recommendation or make any changes, it'd be require 4 votes.
That's correct. If the board would approve the application, whether as proposed by the applicant initially or even as amended, it would have to override the protest petition in this case. And so that would require 4 votes.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, I had a couple questions on, there's some zone changes on top of page 5 of V and W. I'm just curious, we normally do this type of zone change in consent.
I believe, yes, we have, Commissioner Howell, when there are no protests filed and the recommendation from the planning commission is approval. I'm looking back at JR and Philip and they're nodding. So that's correct.
There's no conflict amongst the area residents on either one of these.
I think we're not aware of anything to the extent of a protest having been filed. You could ask planning staff on if there was comments to public hearings. I'm not sure about that. Perhaps Samantha can answer that for you.
And I'll just say this, I'm fine with them being on consent, but if I get wind if there's conflict amongst the people, then I'll have these switched over to regular business, if that's okay. Go ahead.
Samantha Cian, County Counselor, Assistant County Counselor. In terms of protests, there were, I believe, 9 members of the public that spoke at the last MAPC hearing at on October 10th. And are we talking about?
Sorry. No. They're referring to.
Those were taken on consent because there was no members of the public that appeared and requested.
As long as it stays that way, I'll leave them alone. That just was one of my questions. And do we know what the resolution that changes the personnel policies? What's that about?
It's the policy about internal audits. how the internal audit process will
I
work.
think it's good. Great. Glad to see that on there. And I think that's all my questions. Appreciate it.
There is a fire district. There are on the fire district agenda, there are a couple of sets of minutes to review. And then that same policy related to internal audit. That's the only thing on the fire agenda.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions, comments on fire? Executive session?
At this point, I don't believe there's going to be one.
Okay, good. Commissioner, this order of business this is going to work with you? Okay, with your schedule. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. Have a great Friday.